"You'll never make a detective, Watson," he remarked. "This is only simple colouring matter, Chinese yellow to be exact. And will you tell me, too," he became ironical, "how do you expect to find clues of this sort here for a murder committed in Oxfordshire, when all the people present were held out there and examined, when we are the first to arrive back here? Yellow, you know, photographs white. Chinese yellow is used largely in studios in place of white in makeup because it does not cause halation, which, to the picture people, is the bane of their existence. White is too glaring, reflects rays that blur the photography sometimes. If you will notice, the next time you see them shooting a scene, you will find the actor's face is tinged with yellow. Even tablecloths and napkins and white dresses are frequently colored a pale yellow, although pale blue has the actinic qualities of white for this purpose, and is now perhaps more frequently used than yellow. I was properly chastened. In fact, though I did not say much, I almost determined to let him conduct the case himself. Holmes saw my crestfallen expression and understood. He was about to say something encouraging as he handed back the towel when his eye fell on the other end of it, which indeed I myself had noticed. He sobered instantly and studied the other spots. Indeed, I had not examined them closely myself. They were the very faint stains of some other yellow substance, a liquid which had dried and did not rub off as the makeup. There were also some small round drops of dark red, almost hidden in the fancy red scroll-work of the lettering of the towel. Manton Pictures Incorporated. The latter had escaped me altogether. "Blood!" Holmes exclaimed then. "Look here!" The marks of the pale yellow liquid trailed into a slender trace of blood. "It looks as if someone had cleaned a needle on it," he muttered, "and in a hurry." I remembered his previous remark. The murder had been in Oxfordshire. We had just arrived here. "Would anyone have time to do it?" I asked. "Whoever used the towel did so in a hurry," he reiterated seriously. "It may have been someone afraid to leave any sort of clue out there at Sir Gilpin's house. There were too many watchers about. It might have seemed better to have run the risk of a search. With no sign of a wound on Miss Lamar's person, it was pretty certain that neither Lestrade nor I would attempt to frisk anyone. It is not as though we were looking for a revolver, if she was shot, or a knife, if she had been stabbed. And," he could not resist another dig at me, "and that we should look in a washroom here for a towel was, well, an idea that wouldn't occur to anyone but the most amateur and blundering sort of sleuth. It's beginner's luck, Watson, beginner's luck." I ignored the uncomplimentary parts of his remarks. "Who would have been in the washroom just before me?" I asked. Suddenly, he hurried through the waiting room to the door of Manton's office, opening it without ceremony. Manton was gone. We exchanged glances. I remembered that Werner had preceded us upstairs. "It means Werner or Manton himself," I whispered, so the girl just behind us would not hear. Holmes strode out to the hall and to a window overlooking the court. After a moment he pointed. I recognized both the cars used to transport the company to the home of Sir Gilpin Christchurch. There was no sign that either had just arrived, for even the chauffeurs were out of sight. "They must have arrived immediately behind us," Holmes remarked. "We wasted several valuable minutes looking at that water stuff ourselves." At that moment, Werner's voice rose from the reception below. It was probable that he would be up to join us again. I remembered that he had not been at all at ease while Holmes questioned him in the Oxfordshire countryside, that here at the studio he had been palpably anxious to remain close at our heels. I felt a surge of suspicion within me. "Listen, Holmes," I muttered in low tones. "Manton had no opportunity to steal down the hall after the girl closed the door, and—" "Why not?" he interrupted, contradicting me. "We had our backs to the door while we were talking with Werner." "Well, anyway, it narrows down to Manton and Werner, because that is the washroom for these offices." "Shh!" Holmes stopped me as Werner mounted the stairs. He turned to the director with assumed nonchalance. "How long have the other cars been here?" he asked. "I thought we came pretty fast." Werner smiled. "I guess those boys had enough of Oxfordshire. They rolled into the yard, both of them, while you and Dr. Watson and Manton were stopping to watch the people in the water." "I see." Holmes gave me a side glance. "Where are the dressing rooms?" he inquired. It was a random shot. Werner pointed to the end of the hall toward the washroom. "In the next building, on this floor, that is the principal's. It's a rotten arrangement," he added. "They come through sometimes and use our lavatory, because it's a little more fancy and because it saves a trip down a flight of stairs. Believe me, it gets old Manton on his ear."